You eat every day, 3 times a day, sometimes more. You really ought to know what it is you're putting in your body and what it is you're consuming and buying with your money. People really should know where it's coming from and how it's produced. That should be a take-home message, really. Learn about where your food comes from and then make the decisions.
Welcome you all here today. Anyway, it's Henry Bloxham at Moorscourt Farm, Bednall in Staffordshire. We set up a pick your own pumpkin patch 20 years ago on the back of what they were doing. My cousins in America were doing it, so I thought I'd have a go. Imported some seeds from America and started growing some giant pumpkins, which set us on our way really, with a patch about half an acre. Well, at the start we used to have some people come in and I'd give them a mug and fill it up with seed, and we were planting them by hand. And when it got to 2 or 3 acres, that got a bit too much. So we started with maize drills and adapted the maize drills to plant them. And now we've gone on to precision drills, and seed was getting more expensive. So we wanted to put a quality seed in the ground.
Hiya, I'm Don Bloxham. We're dairy farmers here at Moorscourt Farm in Bednall, South Staffordshire. We milk 250 cows on an all year round system, so we calve every day. And the milk goes to Wells Farm Dairies, a local milk buyer. So at Moorscourt Farm we do a pick your own pumpkin patch, which every October we invite thousands of people onto the farm, essentially to buy and to browse pumpkins, but in doing that we also introduce the public to some of our farm animals. We have a small flock of sheep, but also the dairy calves we take to the site. People can get to meet these animals and understand a bit more about what they are and what they do, as opposed to them just being a calf in a pen.
I can't anticipate us getting a lot bigger because of handling the amount of people, and we're like a pop-up establishment, if you like. We haven't got hardcore for cars to park in, we haven't got permanent buildings, so literally it's made up 2 or 3 weeks before we start. That's our biggest challenge, is taking the cars in the fields, managing the people. We can't get really any bigger than we are in the area we're allowed to do it in. Well, I'd like to think over the years we've educated them about how they grow and how difficult it is to grow and establish them for the Halloween market. And I think the people that do come do ask some interesting questions. I've even been asked years ago whether we imported them from America in the early days, but now it's established. I think it is difficult getting this thing across to people that come out to a field and they just think it's a field of pumpkins and it's nothing to do with the farm. So since the last 2 or 3 years, the biggest factor of growing pumpkins is the weather. Especially this last year, a lot of people that are new to the game put them in too early and failed the whole crop because it was too wet and cold. The establishment is very difficult. You've got to have free draining soil, and then we're finding the autumns. We used to be around and it used to be nice and dry autumns, but the last 3 years we've lost days because of the heavy amount of rain we're having in the autumn. So climate change, I don't know what you want to call it, is having even in the spring and the autumn, is having the biggest effect on pumpkin growing.
I think I see 2 major challenges to agriculture at the moment and going forward. The first one is the weather. There's not a lot we can do about that. We just have to manage it and get on with it. And the second, I would say, is staff. Changes do need to be made really in schools and in education to really want to give children and older children a desire to want to work in the industry.
So you've only got that short window to do it in. This year we had 2 weeks late planting them, on purpose because the weather wasn't right, and we just wondered whether they'd reach maturity in that time. So we're up against all that sort of thing. People-wise, we're in the tens of thousands now, really. Even with more local competition that wasn't there, we've established ourselves with a massive following. We're grateful to all the people that keep coming back every year, and we're probably in the third generation of people coming back now.
I'm quite sure that people that live in a rural village, or frankly live anywhere, wonder perhaps what that tractor's doing or what that person's doing in the field, and don't really know. And I have learned along the way as well, doing these pumpkins and engaging with people, and have school visits on the farm as well, that it's perhaps what we take for granted that people are actually quite interested in.
Well, Shout About Farming's doing a lot to get the information out there to people who haven't got the information to hand, and in terms of giving people all the knowledge around where the food comes from, and then letting them go out with that knowledge and knowing what they want to buy, what they want to eat, is fantastic. And things like Red Tractor as well, Farm 24, all of these schemes are doing a lot of good to help us bridge that gap and get more information to the general public about what does happen on farms and where the food's coming from.